And when you move across different hospitals, you then lose your natural friendship groups, your GP becomes more distant, and also some of the familiar tutors you've had are gone. How do you approach support if you're starting to struggle, if you're in one of these other hospitals?
I think that even if you're posted away, you've still got that connection with the medical school, you're still part of the normal course, and you're still entitled to access all the support that's available from the medical school and from the MedSup support system.
Yes.
Because it doesn't have to just be face to face, it can be through email, a phone call, and you're still entitled to access that.
And I know to some sites, I know to Derby, that the University Counselling Service will go out to the different sites as well, if that's something that you wanted. And then also, like we spoke about, in some of the sites, the teaching fellows and clinical educators as well can be really brilliant.
Yeah.
I think the other thing I'd say is that, as you said, as you start CP1 and you split up into different groups with different groups of friends, but you do end up, you soon realise that you make friends, so many more friends as soon as you start at CP1, and just because the friends that you're used to having there, quite quickly you will have people that you feel quite comfortable with. So if it is just a friend you want, don't feel that because you haven't known them for the past 3 years that you may not have friends that you're just as happy to speak to.
Yeah, and I think at every site there is somebody that you can contact that's kind of in charge of you. So it's important when you go to a new site to kind of see who the people are and kind of seek out that point of contact, so you know if you do struggle, who to turn to, who to email, where their office is. So you just become very familiar with the way things work at the new site.
And if you are like struggling, or if you go to a new site and there's something that's been happening before you went there, like, say at the beginning, don't see how you go. Just nobody will mind if you ask to have a chat in the first week. Just let your new consultant or your new clinical educator know about a situation. They'd much rather know at the beginning.
Things are much easier to sort out if you bring them up early.
So being proactive and starting discussion early.
And the consultants that you come into contact with, we all know it can be hit and miss, but we have all had some great consultants throughout our placement, so if you do happen to be placed with a great consultant, they're there to talk to, and they actually are really good and are really there to find out what they can do to help you.
Or even an F1 that you particularly get close to on the ward that you spend a lot of time with, or a teaching fellow, or anybody really that you feel you can turn to. Don't be afraid to kind of get help from them.
Yeah, just fall back and ask them what to do next.
And also, I think it's kind of important to say that going to a new site, particularly if you're in one of the residential ones and you're not with many of your friends, can sometimes, like, you might have days where you do feel a bit rubbish, and I don't think that's because a sign that you can't cope with being away or anything. I think it's just because you're not living in your room that you chose with the housemates you chose with, in the area that you chose. You're in a different place, and it's a bit daunting. And I think that's a perfectly fine thing to feel. But just if you just tell people if you feel like that, and it's not something to be embarrassed about. To be like, I'm finding it a bit tough away, because that's natural.
Everyone will be in the same boat. There's probably someone else sat in their room feeling a bit sad. So if you just kind of
share the concerns.
It is a big jump and it is a big change, but equally it is for everyone, and I think you'd be surprised at how many people do sort of struggle with things, and it's because people don't like to talk about it, but people think it doesn't happen.
Okay. And can I ask about